Are you tired of creating budgets that never stick? Well, today we're going to talk about 4 easy steps you can take to create a budget that you can actually implement that can set your finances on the right track. Now, the first step with this is always to get a snapshot and understanding of where our money actually goes. Quite often, this will change over time, but by having visibility of where we're spending our money, we can actually make a difference to how we spend it in the future. So the first step we're going to go through is how to complete a budget using Money Helper. Now, this is less painful than it sounds. So step one, let's get your banking apps to hand. If you spend on credit cards, if you have several bank accounts, we need to capture what your spending looks like in all of those areas. So get your apps out, download your last 2 to 3 months worth of statements, and have a look at where your money is going. You can populate that into the Money Helper website. They make it really straightforward to do. They've got 7 areas that you can break your spending into to create a snapshot of your budget. Now, really important at this point that we make sure we're capturing one-off spend. So there are things that we might not spend money on every month, things like Christmas presents, things like servicing for your car. And we want to make sure that we're capturing those within the snapshot that we're creating. So do have a think further back if it's going to be beyond that 2 or 3 month point. And get visibility of those one-off spends as well. Now, work through that Money Helper website, populate where your money's going using your banking apps, and export that, save a copy of how you're spending your money right now. This is going to create a platform that we're going to work from to implement some changes. Now, our next step is to set some goals. So we want to have an objective in mind whenever we're looking to change our finances, whenever we're looking to make a difference in terms of how we're spending our money. It's important that we set out an objective here. Now, this goal could be driven by a number of different things. It might be that you've got a big purchase in mind that you want to save money towards. It might be that you've got some debt or some credit cards that you're looking to tackle, and you want to allocate an extra £100 or £200 or £500 per month towards tackling that debt or saving towards that goal. So do set an objective before you start to look at how we can change our expenditure. Next step, let's identify our main spending categories. So what are things we're spending the most money on? Because these are going to be the areas where we might be able to make the biggest difference. Now, for lots of people, their biggest spend might be on their rent or their mortgage, and that might be really difficult to change. It might also be an area that you can focus on periodically. So think about when your rent renews. Are you in the right kind of property? Have you got more space than you need? Could you move to a cheaper area and perhaps make a big ticket saving that will help you to reach your other financial goals? Similarly, is there a better mortgage deal available to you? So do think about those big ticket items, but we appreciate again that they might not be easy to tackle right away. I like to focus when we're looking at making changes to our outgoings. I like to focus on things that don't necessarily impact our lifestyle. So these could be cheap, easy wins for you. Things like your spend on energy bills, things like your mobile phone contract, could be places where you're spending money but not really getting anything that makes life better for you. So do review your broadband provider, do review whether there is a better energy tariff out there for you, because it might be a way of saving some money without necessarily feeling feeling like you're on a financial diet. Now, once we've identified where our biggest spend is, we want to move on to looking at areas that we think we can make a difference in. So that involves identifying, I would set out maybe 1 to 3 areas that you feel like you could cut back on. Now, these might be discretionary spend. So it might be, for example, that you spend lots of money eating out at restaurants every month. It might be your gym membership that you're spending money on. So if it's eating out at restaurants, well, you could do one of 2 things. You could eat out at cheaper restaurants every month, or you could go less often. With the gym, it might be that you could cancel the gym membership. You could move to a cheaper gym. Perhaps you could move to a pay-as-you-go alternative. So there are things that we could do in either one of those 2 areas. Now, our next step is going to be revisiting our budget and creating what we call a conscious spending plan. So we want these changes to be long-term. So if we can set out some things that we can stick to for the longer term, it's going to prevent us having to come back and reshake our budget every couple of months, every couple of years. We want to be able to stick to these changes. And a really important step in doing that is identifying the things that are really important to us, as opposed to the things that perhaps we could live without. So if we use that same example of eating out at restaurants and the gym, it might be that I love eating out at restaurants. That might be my main social activity, is meeting up with friends on a regular basis. And that has a big impact on my life. I really enjoy doing that. It's really important to me. But maybe I'm only using the gym once every fortnight. I want to exercise. I've got best intentions of doing that, but I'm not getting good value out of that membership. So again, I could identify that I don't want to give up going out for a meal, but I'm quite happy to give up my gym membership. Maybe I'll buy some equipment at home. I go running, I'll go cycling, whatever it might be. I can live without that membership. And it's an easy way of me making a small change that doesn't have a big impact on my lifestyle, but does allow me to tackle my other financial goals. So go through those steps, go through that thought process in all areas of your finances, and create some new inputs in that Money Helper app for your desired spending. What are you looking to spend going forwards in each one of those areas? And again, as best we can, we want this to be realistic. We want this to be something that you can stick to. So try to make sure there are things on there that do give you some fulfillment, do enrich your life. Don't make this too strict a diet that you can't stick to it going forwards. Now, our next step is going to be actually staying on track. And this can be the most difficult one because we know it's easy for our expenditure to change or drift over time. Now, we've got lots of tools available to us in the modern world that can help us to stay on track once we've set out what that conscious spending plan should look like. So now it's time to try and get this all on autopilot. Again, lots and lots of tools you can use to help you with this. Some banks, some credit card providers have really useful tools that allow you to set out budgets in each of the areas you've identified and will give you really useful reports to let you know how you're doing each month. If your provider isn't one that helps you in that area, there are some alternatives. One that we really like is called Emma. This isn't an advert, not attached to Emma in any way, but they have some really useful reports that you can stay on track using by inputting your budget for the month in each area, and live daily you can check how you're doing against that budget. So it will tell you if you've used up your discretionary spending. If you've spent your budget for that month eating out, you're going to have to wait a couple of weeks to stay on track. It will give you that kind of visibility of how your spending changes, evolves, develops over time so that you can stay on top of what you've set out.